Hi guys, it's Bethany, and I promised I would do a video on my woolies lanolizing routine. So I have some wool longies here that I need to wash and relanolize, and a little diaper cover. They're both Sloomb covers, and I have a little basin here that I use to wash them in. This one suffered an unfortunate accident, as you can see. My pre-fold didn't exactly contain everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have them in my little basin here. And then I'm going to put in as hot of water as will come out of my tap, so I better warm it up first. Let's get it warmed. Okay, starting to get hot now. So I'm just going to fill it up with as warm of water as can actually come out of my tap. And I'm going to do a quick wash and rinse on these. So while that is filling, I'm going to show you guys what kind of things you will need. I use Beyond Fiber Wash, and this is really, really good for super ugly woolies. Otherwise, like a gentle baby shampoo will work, and there are other brands of wool fiber wash for woolies like this that you can get. You will want to use, these are the Bee Green wool emulsifying cubes, and these are for Sloomb, so it's the same brand that made the woolies themselves. And I have the Sloomb Lanolin as well. And the lanolin is the fatty part that is going to be making our woolies waterproof. Let me move my tap over here. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm just going to gently press it. I don't want to wring it or scrub it super hard. I'm just going to gently work the wool here a little bit to try to get some of this doo-doo out of here. And I have these turned inside out right now, so you will want them to be turned inside out while you are washing and lanolizing them. So I'm just working the wool a little bit here. And you can see the yellow coming out of it. So I'm just squeezing gently, making sure the fiber gets saturated. You can see the parts that aren't exactly completely wet yet. So I'm going to saturate this one too. Make sure they get nice and warm. And you want to make sure your temperature stays relatively constant. You don't want to go from super, super hot water to really, really cold water, or vice versa, or that will shock your wool and it can cause it to felt. And that's another reason why I am not wringing or scrubbing, because I do not want my wool to felt. So I'm going to get as much of this poop out of there as I possibly can. And I know it was on the inside of the leg too. So I'm going to try to just gently work in here too. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to dump it out. Okay, and then I'm just going to gently press them to try to remove as much of the water as I can. I'm going to gently squeeze, no wringing, none of that sort. And I'm going to gently press and squeeze this one too. Dump out the last of that water. And then I'm going to begin filling my basin with hot water again. So I just did a quick rinse on them, and now I'm going to do the actual washing part with our wool wash. And I have used the Honest Company baby shampoo and wash too, or regular Johnson's, which I'm not really a fan of. I think the wool wash works better because this is a very highly concentrated wash. I've washed things like 7 or 8 times with this. So I'm going to get nice warm water in there. It's filling up at the moment. Stick my woolies right back in again. And they are still inside out. Okay. Now that I've filled my container up again, I'm going to open up my little Beyond the Fiber, one second. Beyond Fiber Wash, and then I'm just going to add a dab, maybe 2 dabs since we're poopy. And you only have to wash these like once every couple weeks when they start to become leaky, not nearly as waterproof, and when they get poop on them or something, or when they start to stink, then you'll notice. But wool itself is antibacterial and pretty water resistant. So that's why they make for great diaper covers, especially for overnight. So I'm just swishing them around in here a little bit to get the wool soap all the way through. I'm just going to squeeze it through the woolies, all the way through. And then I'm going to let it sit there for about 15 minutes. So we'll be back after about 15-20 minutes is over. Hi guys, I'm back again, and it's been about 15 minutes, and I did rinse them out and pour out the soapy water. So right now they're just sitting in as hot a tap water as I can stand. As you can see, I have my kettle here, and I boiled a little bit of water, so I'm going to do about a cup's worth of hot boiling water. So fill it about as much as you would for a cup of tea. And this is where the fun part comes in. So I'm going to take my lanolin. I'm going to open it up, sorry, 1 second. And that's what the lanolin looks like. And I'm going to take about a teaspoon per each item that I have in my bath. And I have 2 of them in there. So I'm going to take about 2 teaspoons worth. So I'm going to take a scoop of it. 1 second, let me set you down. I've got juggling going on here, so I'll show you what I do. Okay, so there's about a teaspoon. And I'm going to melt it into this cup here. Nope. Okay. Now I'm going to get another one. Oops, looks like I'm going to need some more lanolin here pretty soon. Yep, I'm right at the end of my box. I got to get some more now. Okay, so I'm just getting the last of my lanolin out of my container here. And you can also use nipple lanolin too. So I'm melting that in there. But you see the big yellow blob floating around in there? It is a fat. It floats on the top, right? So what we need to do next is add an emulsifier, and that's where these emulsifying cubes come in. So I'm going to take one of those and drop it in, and I'm going to explain the magic of this. And these come scented too. This is the Night Night one. I think it's lavender. It smells really good. So these are just little cubes, and I'm going to drop it in and let it melt for a second. So this, you see how it's floating on the top? It's fat. Oil and water don't mix, right? So to get it to mix in, I'm putting an emulsification tablet in there. What emulsification does is it creates little pockets around each tiny little bubble of lanolin. So it's going to break up the lanolin into tiny little bubbles, and it's going to trap it in there so that it integrates itself with the water. It traps it and turns it into little tiny bubbles and mixes it right into that water there. And you can see it starting to turn kind of milky, and I'm going to wait until it is completely milky white. So I'm going to let it melt down a little more and keep stirring it until it is completely white and milky. And I will keep doing this for a few minutes until I come back. Okay, I am back, and I'm going to show you it has turned into milky. There is no more yellow lanolin floating on the top, and the cube is completely melted. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take it over and dump it right into my bath. I'm going to kind of rinse out the cup a little bit, get it all stirred around in there. Let's get all of the white lanolin milky substance in there. And then I'm just going to kind of swish it around and make sure it is integrated well. Make sure that your woolies are inside out before this point, or else all the lanolin will be on the wrong side of the wool, and it will not do any of the waterproofing that you want it to. So you can rub it in a little bit. I like to rub it in while I'm in here, and this is so good for your hands. This feels so nice to have the warm lanolin on your hands. It helps with my overwashed, cracked hands. So I'm just going to rub it into the wet zones, like the crotch and the bottom where she's going to be wet most, and I'll rub it into other parts of it too. And then I like to let them sit for about an hour, and then we'll come back from there and I'll show you what to do with it. So you're just going to leave these to soak in here. I like to move them around a little bit as they stay and soak. I'm just rubbing them in a little bit, and then I'm just going to let them sit there for about an hour. And when I come back, I'll show you what we do with those next. Okay, so it's been about an hour, and now my woolies look a little lighter in color. I can see the lanolin on them, and I can feel it on the surface of them. They've been sitting here maybe an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to set everybody down here. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to let you see. I have a towel on the floor right here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a minute. But I'm going to pick it up and just squeeze squeeze the water out of each one. So I'm just squeezing them to get the water out.
What's in here? Mom, what are you doing?
Just squeezing out the excess water gently. And you can see how the water is different on it now too. It'll bead up on the surface of it. Walk away. And then I'm going to lay it flat on that towel I have on the floor. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Just wring out the extra water. Squeeze it out. We're not wringing, we're squeezing. Stop!
Oh.
Because you guys are crazy and loud and always make a big nuisance of yourself. So it's all wrung out, or, well, squeezed out. Don't mind my terminology. I'm going to lay it down on the floor. Okay. I'm going to pick you guys up again and show you. See, I've got them on the floor here. So now I'm going to take my towel. I'm going to fold it over the top of them. And then I like to take my socks off and then step all over them to get as much of the excess water out of there as I can. So step, 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 stomp, stomp, stomp. And this is going to make them dry 100 times faster than they would if I had not done this. This is extremely helpful because it already takes a long time for woolies to dry to begin with. Okay, I'm going to move them around in the towel a little bit, and then I'm going to roll them up like a burrito. Let's roll it up. And then I'm going to start stomping again. Squish, 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 squish. Squishy, squishy. Alright. Okay, so that's gotten most of the water out of them. They're feeling quite a lot drier to the touch. They're still a little heavy. Then I stick them on my laundry rack here. And, ooh, there's towel fuzzies on it. And then I wait for them to dry. And that can take anywhere from about 12 to 24 hours. I have other woolies. I have other woolies for her to use if I need them to be used. I'll probably use a PUL cover and a pre-fold tonight. But that's the end of it. So once it's all dry, you have some freshly lanolized covers, and that should last you a couple weeks. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Diapers like this are actually pretty low maintenance. So thank you. Bye-bye.